somebody that you feuded with, Izzy.
Okay, so I had to deal with Bully Ray on that one, and I like gave the PR answer. Here's the fact about Izzy, and here's what I'll say. Y'all pissed her off so bad, making fun of her for having a match with me and saying she was unprepared, that she became a real shooter, and she's now one of the top wrestlers in Florida, I believe, in high school wrestling, especially in the women's division, but I know she's done kind of some double division stuff. Y'all mess her up, and when she comes back to wrestling, she's going to be a fully trained MMA savant, and she's going to ruin everyone who talked crap about her. I can't wait.
Like we joke on social media. I think Izzy is brilliant. I think she's a prodigy. I think she will be, if she pursues wrestling, pro wrestling, she will be a pro wrestling star, whether it be a host, an interviewer. I mean, she's already an interview star. She's interviewing all kinds of people. I think that she is a kid and she gets it. She understands it.
Yeah, and she had to confront all of it. Sometimes
Yeah.
that's the way you find out is like you got to deal with everything at once. And she has great parents there with her. Her dad joked to me one time and goes, everybody says we're making so much money off her. Well, guess what? I sold 3 shirts today, so we're getting rich." I was like, "Yeah."
And I mean, there's not going to be anything that she sees, like from a social media perspective when she's an adult, that she hasn't already seen. Like, she's been through it. And I respect that girl an awful lot. I think she's going to do some really cool stuff. So, and I was glad that she was doing stuff with you. Even more happy now that I see that I've had this conversation and I see the kind of mind that you have, and she's got good people guiding her.
There's footage from that night that I think Joey Janela should see, because this was at the time where he was saying he was going to put her through a flaming table and stuff.
Yeah.
And I like show up to the venue and I'm like ready to go. And she's like, was talking about Joey Janela was being mean to her. And I go, "Oh God, pay him no mind." And my guys were following me around to film for me because they were there all week. Just like, here's what he does at work and here's what he does at the time. And it never came out. But there is footage where I'm like, "Oh my God, leave it alone. Who cares, Izzy? We're having fun. Don't worry about him." And I think it'd be really funny to see, 4 years later.
Joey Janela does not give a shit about anything. I was backstage at AEW a year ago. Brandy Rhodes, Awesome Kong, Luther cut my hair there for a charity gimmick. And
oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sitting there next to Brandy Rhodes, who is a pretty important person in that company, and Joey Janela walks by and goes, "Sean Ross Sapp, I'm not going to give you any more dirt." And I was like, you can't say that. Like, not out loud.
Oh, there's not a lot he can't say. He's a wild child. What are you going to do?
Next name up on Shooting Softly, Alley Cat.
Alley Cat. Oh my God. Okay, so I have to shoot softly. See,
Yes.
This is like what's happened with me and Alley Cat. We both played viola all through middle and high school, and we found that out and we were like, "Oh yeah, this makes sense." But ever since we started tagging together, everybody just throws us in the same room. And that is dangerous because we are crazy, and not like crazy like you think, but we get into some wild stuff. And she is a bundle of fun. And listen, Alley Cat gets put in a little bit of a box, I think, because she does so well at intergender, because she does so well at hardcore stuff. Any TV company would be lucky to have her. And honestly, it would probably be good for her well, I'm going to leave it at that. I think Alley Cat would do well on television.
Yeah, I think right now there's just a wealth of female talent, and she's really helping lead that pack. Here's another name, Eddie Kingston.
Oh my God. Eddie Kingston is the most incredible person I've ever gotten to spend time with. He's the king of the second gear crew. And he really is that second gear mentality, which is like, turn it up and give the people what they need and go hard and show them what it's all about. And being able to work with it, I tapped Eddie Kingston out in LA in a match at GCW. The fact that I'm even allowed to say that sentence out loud it shows you what kind of guy Eddie Kingston is. And it shows you his heart for this business. And to see him now on TV and succeeding and doing well and getting to still just be Eddie Kingston every week and do whatever he wants and talk crap and have hardcore matches with Moxley, it's great to see somebody who's stuck to their own path and it ends up being fine. Where the whole time he's not sitting around going, "I'll never get my due." You have those guys who are like, 18 hard years and I never got my. He just said, "I'm Eddie Kingston. I'm going to keep being Eddie Kingston. If you're into it, come with me. If you're not." And that time finally came where it was like, this is what wrestling needs, is that drop of realism and that now, and that person who's not going to shut up a bit. And it's worked out swimmingly for both sides. I can see it.
Another name you've worked with quite a few times that is on AEW TV, Pentaco.
Holy moly. I wrestled Pentaco one time for WWN, because at the time, here's the thing about WWN that's so funny. They knew I would get over with the Tampa bar crowd, but they would never use me outside of that.
Oh.
And I got real pissy one night. I blew a tire and they were asking me to do all these segments and all these matches. And they were like, well, the second match is with Pentaco. And I was like, fine. And I got out of that match and I was like, hot damn, I'm a good wrestler. I'm a superstar. I am so good and excellent. Turns out it's Pentaco. Pentaco is the easiest, most fun person I've ever been in a ring with. He's so smooth. His positioning is incredible. His brain is magic. And luckily, like through Fest Wrestling, I got to work with him a few times. And it's just like every time you get better and you learn something new. And like he always has something to teach. It's just, and now he gets to be on TV too. And seeing him with Luther is the greatest oddball pairing of like, all right, well, I guess it's not even oddball because he's like Luther's evil snake, which
and Luther
is
such a wonderful dude. Like we just talked about him cutting my hair. What an A+ dude that guy is.
And look what he's brought to AEW, where like, you know, even before Mox got that full run, he was just kind of like sneaking in there going like, we're going to do some crazy stuff. Is that cool? And they were like, I mean, you're Luther. You could do whatever you want. And now he's getting to like have these wild, crazy, insane matches with new talent on Dark and getting to do it on Dynamite. It's just cool to see how those weird paths converge, because like you put names out of a hat. I would have never put those two together, but it works literally like a perfect puzzle. And I want to see them keep growing and keep being weird. And that's a good thing, I think, about the heels, especially at AEW. They're allowed to be bad. They're allowed to turn it up. There's sort of levels to the heelness, but like you can also be a little playful too. And the audience is okay with having that fun. And that's exciting because you don't have to hate them all the time. They still want to tune in to see what dastardly things you're going to get into.
Another name, Orange Cassidy. Some memorable stuff there, obviously.
It's like, I look at the smile on my face. This is like, Orange Cassidy stepped into my life at the right time. And I think maybe I stepped into his life at the right time too, because we've had some good times together. Shout out to Gang Business, which is a bigger point of the whole. I am starting to notice something really exciting, Sean Ross Sapp. All these kids who were supposedly Chikara kids and supposedly, you know, had all this intense vinyl pants, shiny training from, you know, carnival barkers who speak weird and can't draw anybody to their shows and can't pay anybody on time. For whatever reason, a lot of these kids have started rejecting some of that ideology. And I really hear some of that Orange Cassidy mentality pushing through, which isn't to say they aren't ready to perform and go at the highest level, but is to say they are being themselves and they are not rejecting parts of themselves that they thought maybe or were told maybe wouldn't be good for wrestling or entertaining for wrestling, and they're doing their own thing. And that influence of being able to do your own thing and still entertain people at the highest level of pro wrestling, to still be the number one guy on the cover of the magazine, to still be able to go toe to toe with someone like Pac, with someone like Chris Jericho, with all these names, and be able to hold your own. It is incredibly inspiring. And he is still he's still that laid back dude who's down to help everybody and down to make sure everybody leaves happy with their entertainment for the evening. You know, he holds that important.
I think they've just barely scratched the surface on him. Have you ever seen the video of him carrying a giant fish down the road?
I have not. This sounds perfect.
Oh, I found it and I posted it to Fightful. And it's him like with this giant fish and muddy pants, and he's got his long hair, and they're like, what's going on? He's like, I got a fish and I'm about to go dance people's faces off. And I'm like, we haven't ever seen that side of him on television yet. Like, if they ever get that based on what they have now, oh my God, like people don't even understand. I've not met the man, and I'm looking at that and I'm like, oh, that's dollars right there.
Wait, you've never met the legendary Orange Cassidy in person?
Never met him in person, no.
I want you to know something. I didn't take credit for this. There is a picture from Every Time I Die to the season of Tommy Dreamer and Orange Cassidy and Puff And I think Gregory Iron and a few other people, and they're all dressed as Santa Claus characters. I did take that picture in the locker room. I want to take credit for that. The last thing I want to say, and I know other people have said this, and I know Orange Cassidy may say it himself. The Rock needs to hear me, and I know he follows you, right? Doesn't he follow you?
He doesn't
The
follow
Rock?
me. If I
He
tweet
knows
him, he
what's going
tweets
on.
back. So yeah.
He's like those wrestlers who won't follow me on Instagram, but they still check my stories, especially when there's something.
Big E
screwed
said
up.
it in an interview in front of a WWE PR guy. He's like, I don't follow you, but I look at your Instagram all the time, or your Twitter all the time. And I was like,
well, I'm
going to
say it. If by 2023 we have not had a movie moment with Orange Cassidy showing up as the laid-back guy who hooks the fast team up with all the new gadgets and technologies, I'm out. I'm retiring. Because Orange Cassidy is made to be a part of the Fast franchise. The Rock, I am begging you. I know you already know. You guys could have already filmed it without my knowledge. But I'm telling you, kiss that money, because you're going to sell at least 3 more tickets to see those Fast movies. And that'll make up for what Vin Diesel couldn't.
I look forward to the fight scene between Roman Reigns and Orange Cassidy where they just Superman punch one another in the Fast movie. But
I want to see them teamed. I want to see Roman Reigns underestimate Orange Cassidy, but when the Superman punch hits, which folks, I tell you, Orange Cassidy can hit that Superman punch. When it hits, they do it as a dual team, and it's just as effective.
I would love to see a half-assed Orange Cassidy. Ooh-ah! Just